Tom's life was simple, almost too simple. Every morning he walked the same path to the small-town grocery store where he worked as the manager. The town's quiet streets mirrored his own solitude, and while he took pride in his job, he often felt a gnawing sense that something was missing. He was kind-hearted, always greeting customers with a warm smile, but he rarely ventured beyond the predictable rhythm of his days. That afternoon, the store was busier than usual. The hum of carts rolling across the tiled floor mixed with the chatter of shoppers. Tom moved through the aisles, organizing shelves and assisting customers with their questions. It was just another ordinary day, or so he thought. As he returned to the front of the store, his eyes caught sight of a little boy standing alone near the candy section. The child, no older than 5, clutched a small toy and looked around nervously, his eyes wide with worry. Tom's heart sank. He approached slowly, kneeling down to the boy's level. "Hey there, buddy. Are you lost?" he asked gently. The boy nodded, his lower lip trembling. In that moment, Tom felt a tug in his chest. He didn't know it yet, but this small act of kindness would mark the start of a journey that would change his life forever. Tom knelt down to the boy's level, keeping his voice calm and soothing. "Hey there, buddy. What's your name?" he asked gently. The boy clutched his small toy tighter and whispered, "Eli." His voice trembled, and he looked up at Tom with wide, tear-filled eyes. "Eli, it's going to be okay," Tom said, with a reassuring smile. "Where's your mom or dad? Were you with them?" Eli hesitated before nodding. "We were at the park, but then I lost them." His lip quivered, and he glanced nervously around the bustling store. Tom's heart ached for the boy. "Don't worry, we'll find them," he promised. "How about we go sit up front where it's quiet, and I'll help you look?" Eli nodded slowly, and Tom guided him to a small seating area near the store entrance. He handed Eli a bottle of water and knelt beside him, speaking softly. "Do you remember anything else about where you last saw them? Maybe what they were wearing?" Eli thought for a moment, his small fingers fidgeting with his toy. "Mom had a blue jacket. Dad, he had a red cap." Tom nodded, taking mental notes. "That's good. Do you know their phone number?" Eli shook his head, tears threatening to spill again. Tom quickly placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "It's okay. I've got an idea. Let's go check the park together. They might still be looking for you there." Tom glanced around the store and found a coworker. "Hey, can you cover for me? I've got to help this little guy find his parents." His coworker nodded, and Tom grabbed his coat. The walk to the park was quiet, except for Eli's small footsteps beside Tom's. The air was crisp, and the sun was beginning to set, casting a golden glow over the town. Tom kept the conversation light, asking Eli about his favorite toys and games to keep him distracted. When they arrived at the park, Tom scanned the area. The swings creaked in the breeze, and children's laughter filled the air, but there was no immediate sign of anyone matching Eli's description. Tom crouched down again. "Do you see them anywhere, Eli?" he asked softly. Eli's face lit up as he pointed toward a bench near the fountain. "That's them! That's my mom and dad!" he exclaimed, his voice filled with relief. Tom turned to see a woman in a blue jacket and a man with a red cap frantically looking around. Eli let go of Tom's hand and ran toward them, tears streaming down his face. The parents' expressions shifted from worry to pure relief as they scooped Eli into their arms. Tom stood back, a smile spreading across his face as he watched the family reunite. The mother approached him, holding Eli tightly. "Thank you," she said, her voice trembling. "We were so scared. We can't thank you enough for bringing him back to us." Tom waved off her gratitude. "I'm just glad he's safe." As Tom turned to leave, the father called out, "Wait, let us do something to thank you. Please, can we at least buy you dinner?" Tom hesitated but smiled. You don't owe me anything. Just take care of your little guy. With that, he walked back toward the store, his heart lighter than it had been in years. The next day, Tom returned to his regular routine at the grocery store. The memory of Eli's relieved face as he reunited with his parents lingered in his mind, bringing a warmth he hadn't felt in years. He was stocking a shelf when a familiar voice interrupted his thoughts. "Excuse me, are you Tom?" He turned to see Eli's parents standing nearby, their faces lit up with gratitude. Eli clung to his mother's hand, a shy smile spreading across his face. "Yes, that's me," Tom replied, slightly surprised. The father extended his hand. "We just wanted to thank you again for what you did. You didn't have to go out of your way, but you did, and it meant the world to us." Tom shook his hand, his modesty showing. "I'm just glad Eli's safe. That's all that matters." The mother chimed in. "We were wondering if you'd like to join us for a meeting at our community group this weekend. It's a small group we organize to bring people together and support each other. You seem like someone who'd fit right in." Tom hesitated, caught off guard by the invitation. He'd never been one for social gatherings, preferring the solitude of his simple life. Still, the idea intrigued him. Perhaps it was time to step out of his comfort zone. "I'll think about it," he said, smiling politely. The mother handed him a flyer. "We'd love to see you there. It's at the community center, Saturday at 4 p.m. No pressure, of course." As the family left, Tom stared at the flyer, his thoughts swirling. The invitation felt like an opportunity, a chance to break free from his isolated routine and connect with others. But the fear of stepping into the unknown held him back. Saturday arrived, and Tom found himself pacing his small apartment, the flyer sitting on the table. "What's the worst that could happen?" he muttered to himself. Finally, he grabbed his jacket and made his way to the community center. The center was bustling with activity. People of all ages filled the room, chatting and laughing. Tom's nerves spiked as he entered, but a welcoming wave from Eli's parents calmed him slightly. "Tom, you made it," Eli's father said, approaching him. "Come on, let me introduce you to everyone." As Tom met the group members, he noticed their genuine warmth and camaraderie. They welcomed him without hesitation, sharing stories about their lives and the community projects they worked on. For the first time in years, Tom felt a sense of belonging. During the meeting, they discussed plans for an upcoming charity event to support underprivileged families in the area. Tom listened intently, his interest piqued. When they asked for volunteers to help with organizing supplies, he found himself raising his hand without a second thought. By the end of the meeting, Tom felt lighter. The group's positivity and sense of purpose had ignited something within him. As he left the center, he couldn't help but smile. His decision to help a lost child had not only reunited a family, but also opened a door to a new chapter in his own life. The evening of Tom's first community event arrived faster than he anticipated. He stood outside the community center, his hands gripping the straps of his worn backpack. Through the large windows, he could see the room bustling with activity. Tables were set with food and decorations, and the hum of laughter and conversation filled the air. For a moment he considered turning back, but then he thought of Eli and his family. Gathering his courage, he stepped inside. The warmth of the room hit him immediately. A woman near the entrance greeted him with a friendly smile and handed him a name tag. Tom scribbled his name and stuck it on his shirt, feeling a bit out of place as he scanned the crowd. Before he could second-guess his decision, Eli's parents approached him. "Tom, you made it," Eli's father said, clapping him on the shoulder. "We're so glad you're here." Eli peeked out from behind his mother, grinning. "Hi, Mr. Tom." Tom's nerves eased slightly at their warm reception. "Thanks for inviting me," he said, managing a smile. As the evening progressed, Tom began to relax. He was introduced to other members of the community group. each interaction chipping away at his initial hesitation. One of the organizers, a man named Greg, struck up a conversation about Tom's work at the grocery store. "It's honest work," Tom said modestly, "but it doesn't leave much room for, well, things like this." Greg nodded thoughtfully. "You'd be surprised how much these connections can mean. Sometimes, all it takes is one person stepping out of their comfort zone to make a difference." Tom pondered Greg's words as he joined a group activity, assembling care packages for families in need. The task was simple, yet he felt a sense of purpose he hadn't experienced in years. Working side by side with others, sharing stories and laughter, Tom began to feel a part of something bigger than himself. During a break, Eli's mother sat beside Tom. "I hope you're enjoying yourself," she said. "We're lucky to have you here." Tom hesitated before replying. "It's been a while since I've done anything like this. I didn't realize how much I missed being around people." Her smile was understanding. "Sometimes we don't know what we need until we find it." As the event wound down, Eli ran over to Tom with a handmade thank you card. "I made this for you," he said excitedly, holding up a piece of paper covered in colorful drawings and glitter. Tom's throat tightened as he accepted the card. "Thank you, Eli. This means a lot to me." Driving home that night, Tom felt a strange but welcome sensation: contentment. The evening had been a small step, but it marked a significant shift in his life. For years, he'd built walls around himself, keeping others at a distance. Now, those walls were starting to come down. In the weeks that followed, Tom became a regular at the community events. He helped organize food drives, participated in cleanup projects, and even volunteered to mentor teenagers looking for part-time jobs. His bond with Eli's family deepened, and he discovered shared interests with other members of the group. A love for woodworking, an interest in local history, little things that connected him to others in unexpected ways. There were still moments of self-doubt. Sometimes, Tom wondered if he truly belonged, or if he was capable of making a meaningful contribution. But each time those thoughts crept in, he remembered the smiles, the gratitude, and the connections he'd built. Slowly, but surely, he realized the joy that came from stepping outside his comfort zone and letting people in. One evening, after a particularly successful charity event, Greg approached Tom. "You've become an important part of this group," he said. "Your kindness and hard work inspire people more than you know." Tom felt a wave of humility and pride. "I'm just doing my part," he said simply. "Sometimes that's all it takes," Greg replied with a smile. That night, as Tom sat in his small apartment, he looked at Eli's thank you card pinned to the wall. The words, "Thank you, Mr. Tom," sparkled in glitter, a reminder of how far he'd come. For the first time in years, he felt truly connected to his community, to others, and to himself. The day of the annual community gathering was bright and lively. The town square buzzed with activity as families, volunteers, and local leaders mingled under colorful banners. Tom arrived early to help set up, his hands carrying crates of supplies while his heart carried a mix of excitement and nervousness. He had become an integral part of the community group, but he still didn't see himself as someone extraordinary. That was about to change. As the event began, a local leader stepped onto the makeshift stage and welcomed everyone. The sound of clapping filled the air as the attendees settled down. Among the many highlights of the day was a special segment dedicated to recognizing acts of kindness that had made a difference in the community. Tom assumed he would just sit back and applaud like everyone else, but his name was suddenly called. "Today, we want to honor someone whose simple act of compassion has created ripples far beyond what he might realize," the leader announced. Tom froze as Eli's parents stepped up to the microphone. They smiled warmly at him, motioning for him to join them on stage. The crowd's applause urged him forward, though his legs felt like lead. Standing under the spotlight, Tom felt the weight of hundreds of eyes on him. Eli's mother spoke first, her voice steady but emotional. "A few months ago, our son got lost, and we were terrified. Tom's kindness that day didn't just bring our family back together. It inspired us to do more for others. Because of him, we've expanded our community group to include programs for at-risk children and their families." Eli's father took over, his voice thick with emotion. "Tom's actions reminded us that one person's compassion can ignite change. He didn't know us, but he stepped up when it mattered most. That kind of kindness is what this world needs more of." The audience erupted into applause, and Tom's face grew warm as he tried to process their words. Eli tugged at his sleeve and handed him a plaque inscribed with the words, "In gratitude for inspiring change." Tom's hands trembled as he accepted it, his throat tight with emotion. When the applause finally died down, Tom stepped up to the microphone. His voice was hesitant at first, but the encouragement in the crowd's faces gave him strength. "I don't think of myself as a hero," he began. "I just saw a little boy who needed help, and I did what anyone would have done. But seeing all of you here, hearing how that one moment grew into something so much bigger, it's humbling." He paused, gathering his thoughts. "What I've learned through this journey is that kindness isn't just about grand gestures. Sometimes, it's the small things, a helping hand, a kind word, that create the biggest impact. If my story proves anything, it's that we all have the power to make a difference, no matter how small it might seem." The crowd rose to their feet, clapping and cheering. Tom stepped back from the microphone, his heart pounding. As he descended the stage, dozens of people approached him to shake his hand, thank him, and share their own stories of kindness inspired by his example. Later that evening, as Tom sat quietly at the edge of the square, watching families laugh and children play, Eli ran up to him and hugged him tightly. "You're my hero, Mr. Tom," the boy said. Tom smiled, his eyes misty. "No, Eli, you're mine." For the first time, Tom fully understood the ripple effect of his actions. What began as a single moment of compassion had grown into a wave of change, connecting people and inspiring a community. His heart swelled with gratitude, knowing that he had finally found his place in the world. The sun was setting as Tom walked through the park, his steps light and unhurried. Laughter from nearby children echoed in the crisp evening air, and he smiled as he spotted Eli playing tag with his friends. Life had changed for Tom in ways he never imagined. What began as a simple act of kindness had grown into a purpose-filled journey. Tom was now a beloved member of the community, his name often mentioned with admiration. He had taken on a mentorship role, guiding young volunteers and sharing his story during local events. "Kindness isn't about expecting rewards," he would say. "It's about believing in the power of connection." As he sat on a bench overlooking the park, a group of teenagers approached him, eager to share their ideas for a new community project. Tom listened intently, offering advice and encouragement. He saw pieces of his younger self in their enthusiasm and felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing he could guide them. Tom's journey had become an inspiration. The ripple effect of his compassion had touched countless lives, from Eli's family to neighbors who had found hope in his story. And in helping others, Tom had found something he hadn't even realized he was missing: a sense of belonging and a life filled with purpose. As the stars began to twinkle above, Tom stood and waved goodbye to the teenagers. One small act, he thought, can truly change everything. Thank you for watching Tom's heartwarming journey. This story beautifully illustrates how a simple act of helping a lost child can transform not just one life, but an entire community through the ripple effect of kindness. Have you ever encountered a situation where helping someone led to unexpected positive changes in your own life? Maybe you assisted a stranger in need, or extended support to someone during their difficult times. We'd love to hear your experiences in the comments below. Your story might inspire others to take that first step towards making a difference. Remember, just like Tom, you don't need to do something extraordinary to create extraordinary change. Sometimes, the simplest gestures, stopping to help someone in need, offering a kind word, or extending a helping hand, can set in motion a chain of events that transforms lives in ways we never imagined. If this story touched your heart, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more inspiring stories of human connection and compassion. Share this video with others who might need a reminder that one person's kindness can spark meaningful change in their community. Let's work together to create a world where acts of kindness inspire others to pay it forward. Thank you for being part of our storytelling community. We'll see you in the next story.